everybody. Another early Edmonton Oilers game. We're here with our coffee, with our breakfast, and a pregame show. Welcome to our giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. Caroline and Tyler here with everyone. And Tyler, what's up? What's going on on your end?
Oh, I am excited for some more morning hockey. Got the coffee poured and all that good stuff. I kind of like it. I like getting the games in early. It gives you something to look forward to early on the weekend.
I know, and if the Oilers win like they did yesterday, like your day's just it's off to the right start and it's a good day, right?
Yeah, and yesterday certainly was a good day, especially if you threw some money on the Oilers as well. They played, not great, but it was funny. I was talking with Bagged Milk on the Beatcast after the game, and that's hockey, right? You play so well against Tampa, but you maybe don't get the goaltending and you don't win. You don't play well at all against Florida, but you get the goaltending and you do get the win. And it's just funny how things tend to balance out like that.
Well, we talk about goaltending. That's how I want to start off this pregame show, because the man of the day yesterday, without a doubt, was Mikko Koskinen, 44 saves on the night. And everybody online could agree that this guy played lights out. And a lot of fans coming to Mikko Koskinen's side to defend him, saying that he shouldn't always get the brunt of the negativity when in terms of goaltending within the Edmonton Oilers organization, because sometimes he's not the guy who struggles the most and he deserves more respect. We saw Mikko Koskinen yesterday that was super fired up, which we don't always see. Someone who was laser focused and had an unbelievable game. He was a brick wall. And I think his character on the ice helped propel the team to find a way to win. And it came down to Mikko Koskinen being the guy to save the day against the Tampa Bay Lightning, a very, very good team in the NHL. So, you got to tip your hat to Mikko Koskinen, and we'll get to the lines a little later in the show and see how people are feeling about him not starting today. But Tyler, you gotta give a credit where credit is due.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the numbers we got up here. He's put together a really, really solid run over his last 7 starts. He hasn't allowed more than 3 goals in any of those last 7 starts. And when your offense is as good as the Oilers is, if your goalie's going to go out there every game and he's only going to give up 3 or less goals, that means he's given you a chance to win. So that's 7 straight starts for Mikko Koskinen where, he's given them an opportunity to go out and get 2 points. And that's not something that can be said about Mike Smith. You look back at the games Smith has played. He's played 7 since he last returned from injury on February 8th. He's allowed more than 4 goals in 4 of those 7 games. So it's a really big contrast. And you're right, Mikko takes a lot of the crap from this fan base. I was someone who wanted him on waivers a few weeks ago because I wanted Stuart Skinner up, and Koskinen's the easier contract to bury down. But, Mikko's kind of making me eat my words as well, because he's playing some really good hockey and consistently giving this team a shot to win hockey games.
I love it. Right now, our chat is blowing up. Let's kind of go to Ryan nugentHopkins right now, where we saw that he left the first period with an upper body injury, did not return. Everyone's wondering if he's out until the playoffs. I know that we don't have an update yet from Woodcroft, but potentially a big loss for the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, Nuge is a solid player, very smart, intelligent player on the ice, a guy who's centering that third line and has done a great job of doing so. So what are your thoughts on Nuge? And people are asking, who gets the call up if Nuge is out long term?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if this does end up being long-term, because Nuge had kind of turned into such an important part of that third line for the Edmonton Oilers, and he was driving offense in the bottom 6. He kills penalties. Everyone knows all the good stuff that Ryan nugentHopkins does. You don't want to speculate too much. It looked like an upper body injury, though, and I mean, those are things where even if you just get bumped a little and you tweak it can take a while for you to really get back up to 100% and get back into action. So actually a little bit nervous that it might be a bit of a long-term thing for Nuge. If he is going to be out for a while, then that means he's on the shelf with Jesse Puljujarvi, and we're actually just finding out now Kyler Yamamoto's not on the ice for warm-ups today in Carolina either. So you sit there and you go, man, Nuge out, Puljujarvi out, Yamamoto out. You're missing 30% of your top 9 at that point. So it's a big loss from Nuge specifically, just because he played that important position and he played so many important minutes. But they are missing a lot of key pieces right now, and they're going to have to find a way to grind through it.
Awesome. And Derek Ryan, I mean, we talk about Koskinen, but you got to be so happy for Derek Ryan, how he's been playing since Jay Woodcroft came into the position, got his first NHL career hat trick yesterday. And, he's the guy who a few games ago said that the reason why he believes this team's having so much success is because everybody's given a chance and opportunity to help win games. And he did that yesterday. He also became the oldest player in Oilers history to record a hat trick at 35 years old. Age is just a number. here. And like I said, you can't be anything but happy for this guy. His smile says it all, and a leader. A lot of Oilers fans, I know that Oilers fans are, we jump the gun on a lot of things and we get excited, but he said that maybe he's the answer. He's got the age, he's got the experience, he seems like a very mature player. And you like I said, like, these are just great moments from players who aren't necessarily Connor and Leon, who can contribute to this team and help win games.
Yeah, Electronic Jordan, Ryan Hattie, that was unexpected. Bearded Brad asking if Derek Ryan's the answer. Now, we were having some fun with that yesterday on Twitter. Yeah. Like, it's good, right? You need games like that. There's going to be plenty of nights where, McDavid and Draisaitl score all the goals and the Oilers win the game 5-2 or 5-3. And that's awesome. When you have good players like that, they're going to carry you to victories. But it's also really important for this team to win hockey games when, you don't get 3 points from McDavid and Draisaitl each. You get a depth guy who steps up and finds a way to be the hero. You get a goalie who comes in and has a .935, .936 save percentage. So really good to see the depth keep rolling as well. Genesis saying today Warren Fogle is going to be the answer. And yeah, like, hopefully that's how you're going to battle through these injuries as well, right? Like, with missing all these key guys in your top 9, you're going to need players who can just step up and just keep rolling and keep the offense going and keep that kind of bottom 6 humming the way it is right now.
So there's a guy in the Facebook chat called Jake, and I believe so. Last time I was at Costco, we ran into a massive Oilers Nation fan, and his name's Jake. So I feel like this is the same Jake. So I want to say, what's up, Jake? And he says Derek Ryan, 7 points in his last 8 games, playing unreal. We saw Connor McDavid get a couple assists, Leon Draisaitl a goal, but when you're able to get that point production from guys who are those two, and then you still see Connor and Draisaitl able to help the team win, this is Jay Woodcroft's starting to find a recipe that could be huge come playoffs, hopefully, and a recipe for success. So it's great to see. And I was so happy for Derek Ryan. And hopefully the team keeps swinging here. But a lot of people right now. So Tyler, I want to know your take right now on Koskinen not starting today. And obviously we know starting back-to-back games, not always likely. A lot of people saying Koskinen played amazing yesterday, but the problem is always consistency. Starting him tonight doesn't make sense because of a massive workload yesterday, travel day, playing again tonight against Carolina. That's a lot to ask for from someone like Mikko Koskinen.
Yeah, I wouldn't have started him tonight. Like, I understand the thinking of he played great yesterday, so give him another chance to keep rolling in this one, but it's a travel day. He got absolutely peppered as well. He faced more than 40 shots. You're going to play another good team in Carolina today. Like, this is one of the better teams in the NHL. They're the best team in the Eastern Conference. I just wouldn't have wanted to push Mikko that hard. We're seeing how well he's played over his last 7 games, but we also know that when Mikko gets overworked, his numbers fall off a cliff. So I want to rest him because the other side of it is, this might not be a super popular opinion, but this game today against Carolina is not an easily winnable hockey game. You're going to need a lot of things to go right to beat the Canes tonight. Whereas when you look later in the week, or next week, you get Philly, you get Chicago, you get Montreal. Those are 3 very winnable games, and I want my better goalie rolling in those 3 games. Not saying today is a full-on punt play, and it doesn't matter if they don't get the 2 points, because the 2 points is going to be important no matter who you play. But those 3 games next week, that's when I want my number 1 guy going. And right now, Mikko Koskinen is showing that he's the number 1 guy over Mike Smith. So I like the decision to rest him. You can't just if you keep starting him every game, the wheels are going to fall off eventually. We've seen that time and time again here in Edmonton with Mikko. So I don't hate the decision. Like, I'm not thrilled about Mike Smith. I don't think he's going to play great today. You never know what you're going to get with him. So
that's the problem, right? Like, a lot of fans have an issue with Koskinen not starting because what's our trust like in Mike Smith at the moment? And nothing, again, we don't crap on players on this show, but it's just the truth of the situation. If Mike Smith's between the pipes tonight or today in literally 20 minutes and lets in a soft goal within the first 10 minutes of the game, we don't have a solid starting goaltender that we can rely on. So that's, I think, the beef right now that fans have. It's like, okay, Koskinen played well, but we know that maybe it's a tough workload, back-to-back games, consistency. But then we look at someone like Mike Smith and we don't feel good about the situation about Mike Smith being in between the pipes. And I think that that's the problem here in Edmonton. So, yes, we're so excited for Mikko Koskinen. Great game yesterday. We don't want to overwork him, but we don't also have another goaltender to really rely on. So that's where my issue is like, maybe you do start Koskinen. Maybe you do play him back-to-back games. He played yesterday at what, 10:30 or 10:30 our time was the game at 10:30. He's had a full day to recover. We've seen goaltenders do this before. So, it's going to be interesting to see how Mike Smith does. Obviously, we want him to do well. We know Mike Smith is talented enough to do well. So hopefully he has a game and he recovers from his last couple where he didn't show up. But this is where, goaltending is kind of a scary situation in Edmonton because we don't really have a consistent, reliable number one guy who goes in between the pipes where Edmonton Oilers fans are like, we can breathe today. So I think that's where I guess a lot of people have their concerns.
It should be Stuart Skinner, right? We'd all feel a lot better.
We go back to that every day.
Like if Skinner was up here and that's something, replied Pizza in the Twitch chat. The Twitch names, I always feel just ridiculous reading some of them out. But anyways, he said, we need Skinner so bad right now. And you do, right? Because if the decision was between Koskinen and Skinner today, and Koskinen played well yesterday, I don't think a lot of Oilers fans would have a problem saying, you give Stuart the start. It's back-to-backs. You always split back-to-backs. The numbers say that goalies don't hold well in that second game of a back-to-back. And listen, if this was game 82 or game 78, 77, and it was like the Oilers need 2 points to get in the playoffs tonight, then I'd be going back to Mikko Koskinen. But to me, this is a bit of a big picture play as well. Like I said, next week, you're going up. Your schedule gets easier. There's some very, very winnable games on tap. I want to make sure Mikko Koskinen is rested and at his best so you can go and roll through Philly, Chicago, Montreal, and win all 3 of those, get all 6 points. And to me, this is setting up to do that. If you're going to beat Carolina tonight, you're going to need a lot of things to go right. And Mike Smith is capable of having good games. The problem is you never know when you're going to get them. There is no consistency, but that's inconsistency, right? Sometimes it could be good, I suppose. I don't know. I'm trying to be positive.
No, positivity is good. And that's exactly what Tori's saying in the Facebook chat. Put out the positive, and that the Oily boys win in 100%. Like Tyler, I was the one who was a little nervous yesterday and you were like, no, the team's doing well and Koskinen's going to have a great game. And you were right. So we're going to keep that rolling. We're just addressing certain comments that we see online and conversations because it's important for us to talk about both sides of the coin. So obviously we want Smith to play lights out today. And like a lot of fans say in the past, when Koskinen does well, Smith goes up to his level and vice versa. So that could be a game today where Mike Smith does that in between the pipes for us. Let's move on to the opposition report because yesterday was a huge game. We have another big one today against the Carolina Hurricanes, second place team right now in the NHL, 36-11-4. They're on a 4 game winning streak at the moment, obviously led by Sebastian Aho, among other key players on this team. And Oilers have an opportunity to come out of back-to-back wins if everybody shows up today, Tyler.
Yeah, they need everyone to show up. And if you bring the same effort that you did against Florida in front of the goaltending today, you're not going to have much of a shot to win this hockey game. Like I said a few times now, this Hurricanes team is good. They're number 1 in the Eastern Conference. They've won 4 games in a row. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10, 5-2-2 in the month of February. So far in February as well, their power play 10th in the NHL. Edmonton's is 9th, so it's a little bit better, but Carolina's PK 3rd in the NHL. We saw Edmonton's PK struggle again yesterday. They're 21st since February. Carolina 11th in goals for, 7th in goals against in the month of February. Edmonton's 12th and 16th. Yesterday, I was bullish on the Oilers' chances of winning because they had a goaltending advantage, in my opinion, and the numbers added up. Edmonton even had a bit of a special teams advantage. Today, I'm definitely not as confident in the Oilers just because I think Carolina is a little bit better than the Florida Panthers, and they've been playing a little bit better as of late as well. It's as simple as that. It's going to be a tough one.
Lines for the Carolina Hurricanes, and we all know a former Oiler on the team.
Yeah, Ethan Bear is down on the 3rd pairing for the Carolina Hurricanes. The rest of the lineup, up front, you mentioned Sebastian Aho. He centers that top line. He's got 6 points in his last 5 games. He's got Teuvo Teravainen. That duo has been fantastic this season for the Carolina Hurricanes. Andrei Svechnikov is actually back up on the top line. He's on the left side with Aho. The second line is Vinny Trocheck with Martin Necas and Seth Jarvis, the former first-round pick. Jordan Stahl with Nino Niederreiter and Jesper Fast. Jesperi Kotkaniemi down on the 4th line. That is an expensive 4th-line center for the Hurricanes. Jordan Martinook and Steven Lorentz are the wingers there. And the D pairings, it's Slavin with Pesci, Brady Shea with Jalen Chatfield, Ian Cole with Ethan Bear, and the starting goalie for the Canes is Freddie Anderson. He's been doing pretty good as of late. He went on a run there where it was 4 straight games, giving up exactly 3 goals, but he is coming off a shutout over the Columbus Blue Jackets, but he only had to stop 19 shots in that shutout.
Yeah, only. No big deal. Hey, Tyler. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the lines for the Edmonton Oilers, because we still have a lot of people who've just joined our pregame show saying, is Yamamoto out? And maybe, we can clarify who's in, who's out again for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, as you can see, things are kind of changing here. This is what we thought the lines were going to be earlier this morning, but that is, not going to be the case at all. The Oilers really, really changing stuff up here. This is the way they warmed up. The top line, Connor McDavid with Zach Hyman and Warren Foegele moved up to the left side. Second line, Leon Draisaitl with Evander Kane and Colton Sevier on the right side. So Sevier goes from being a healthy scratch to being up in the top 6. The third line is going to be Devon Shore with Derek Ryan and Ryan McLeod on the left side there. And the fourth line, the 2 extra forwards, I suppose, are going to be Tyler Benson and Brendan Perlini. Edmonton actually doesn't have any more healthy forwards to play. Everyone's hurt. They only have 11 guys on the roster right now. So these are the only 11 forwards that Jay Woodcroft could really play. I wonder in that Sevier spot, though, if we're going to see that rifled around a little. Like, we might get McLeod up there a little. We might get Benson up there, Perlini up there a little bit. I just really can't see Jay Woodcroft going, Colton Sevier, you're playing 18 minutes with Leon Draisaitl tonight. I just really don't see that. The D pairings for the Oilers, same as always. Nurse with Barry, Legason, CC, Niemelainen, and Bouchard, Broberg as the 7th defenseman.
We got Patty Murphy saying, love the game that Nemo is playing. It seems like Nemo is the newly adopted nickname for Niemelainen. And strong physical presence. And I swear every single time he has that physicality on the ice, I'm even like, we need someone like that. So I guess Nemo quickly becoming not necessarily a fan favorite, but someone that everyone's enjoying watching play.
Yeah, it seems like every game we could talk about Niemelainen and the good stuff he's doing. He broke up a cycle really well in that game against Florida, and that's something the Oilers have lacked on their blue line for a while. So, again, every game it feels like this fan base wants to talk about a big physical play that Niemelainen made, and he's turning himself into a little bit of a fan favorite here.
I love it. All right, bet of the game. Where are you putting your money? Who's the underdog?
The Oilers. They are underdogs, plus 170. Big dogs for the Oilers today in this one. And if you like the Oilers to win this game in regulation, as my computer freezes up, they're plus 230. So pretty similar to yesterday as well. If you think the Oilers can win this game by 2 or more, it is paying out a very, very juicy plus 400. I'm not saying to put your money there, that's for sure. But for my bet of the game, which, I had the nugentHopkins shot prop yesterday, which was unfortunate because obviously he goes down with an injury. You lose the bet. But I did hit on that Oilers in regulation at plus 240, which was certainly a nice payout. Today, I'm going with Leon Draisaitl shot prop set at 3.5, paying plus 110. I think the big guns are going to feel a little bit of pressure here to really step up and carry the offense. And I think Draisaitl might be in the mood to just rip some pucks this afternoon. He hasn't hit this in a couple, so he's kind of due. I like Draisaitl shot prop for my bet of the game.
I feel like Brendan Perlini is going to score a goal today. I don't know why, because I think when was the last game he played? Because he's been out for a couple now.
Yeah, he got into... was it the game against Minnie, or was it a game on this road trip that Perlini got into? Sorry, he played against Winnipeg. That was his last one. He only had 6 shifts, though. He only played like 3 minutes.
Yeah, but he had that one really good chance, which, I was really hoping he'd get, because before that game, he'd been doing really well before we didn't see him on the ice. So I'm hoping he has a good game, because he was kind of on, like we were talking about it before, a little bit of a hot streak, and then we didn't see him. So should be a good game today, guys. We're 10 minutes away. Hopefully the game starts on time. And I'm looking forward to this. Again, the Oilers surprised me yesterday. And again, hats off to Mikko Koskinen and Derek Ryan. And hopefully we have some other special performances today against the Carolina Hurricanes, who are another very, very good team.
Yeah, just going through the chat here. Lambo goal, as Electronic Jordan said. If you like that, plus 900 over on PointsBet. People wondering where Cashy is. He did not respond to our barking.
Guys, I promise you, Cash, he is... Cashy, he started barking downstairs, and then he went to the room where there's a big window because he probably thought there was a dog. So here he is, guys. He's ready. That's a good sign. I'm assuming he didn't come in here barging in, so maybe another win.
Someone asked who could potentially get called up with all of these injuries. And a question about Dylan Holloway and whether or not he'd be ready to go. I'd say it's doubtful right now that they go the Holloway route. He's off to an okay start in Bakersfield. He's got 4 goals, 6 assists, so 10 points in 16 games. But from what I've heard and what I've kind of read, it's been a little inconsistent. So I think they actually would probably opt to keep him down a little. One guy or a couple of guys, I guess, because they could probably call up 2 forwards now if Yamamoto is going to miss a few more games. Seth Griffith, he's the Condors' leading scorer with 52 points. Brad Malone, they recently converted his AHL deal into an NHL deal, so Brad Malone could be a guy that maybe gets a look as well. And Cooper Marody is the obvious one as well. 41 points in 37 games this season. We know he's had a bunch of success in the American League level on a line with Ryan McLeod and Tyler Benson, so if the Oilers need some scoring at the NHL level for the next week or so, maybe Cooper Marody gets the chance. But if I had to put money on who would be getting called up, I think it would be Seth Griffith. I think they would. I think they'd reward their leading scorer in Bakersfield a little bit.
Awesome stuff, Tyler. We can end the show on a positive note from Patty Murphy. A win today with a shortened squad would be a huge boost for our group, and Smitty is due for a good game. It's true. Teams who, are good will always find a way to battle through adversity. I believe that they can under Jay Woodcroft, and exactly, Mike Smith is due for one. He's had a couple of bad games, but you can't chalk up his entire talent and skill set and who he is as a goaltender in 2 games or 3. So, we'll see what happens today, but positivity's out there. Don't worry, Patty Murphy. We're positive. We're excited. And Tyler has one more thing to say.
I do. One more thing to say. If you head over to OilersNation.com, you will notice a ton of Ryan Smith content up on the site. It is Smitty Day. We're looking back at the 15-year anniversary of when the Oilers traded Ryan Smith at the deadline to the Islanders. A day to look back on what Ryan Smith means to the organization. Our boy Coombsy has been doing a ton of work on this stuff. We got videos coming out. We got a new shirt up at Nation Gear, and it's kind of like the OG piece of Nation Gear. It's one of the things that helped spark and create the website and start everything that happened with Oilers Nation. So go to Nation Gear if you want to check out the shirt. If you go to Oilers Nation, though, today, pretty much all throughout game day and later on to the evening, we're going to have a ton of really good Ryan Smith content up on the site.
I heard that was a really dark day here in Edmonton when that trade happened.
Dark day might even be an understatement.
We'll talk about that on another pregame show because I love hearing all these stories. All right, everyone, we are 7 minutes away from puck drop. We'll see you on Twitter. We'll be back here next game day, which I believe is on Tuesday. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Tyler and I appreciate you all so much. Jake from Costco, you're the man. My physio Mike and I always say how awesome you are, and we will see you guys next time. Go Oilers!